You're watching America Trends. I am Mary Burt Godwin, and we're sitting here with Brad Rambur. We've got lots of patterns happening here. We're just discussing.
We just decided that between the two of us, with the wardrobe for today's shoot, that we are a disruptive camouflage called barfly.
Barfly. I don't know what that joke means.
It was a great Saturday Night Live gig when someone had to state their occupation in Saturday Night Live court, and they said, "Your occupation, ma'am?" Her answer was
Barfly.
Barfly. Oh,
That's
wow.
us. That used to be me, actually, back in the day. Okay, so let's talk about managers are fearing remote work. Now, remote work has been a topic. I worked remotely from before the pandemic. I worked in an agency and I was working from home for years, and that agency actually went completely remote before even the pandemic happened because we were all over the country.
And did the pandemic adversely impact them? Do you know?
It did, because the clients were hotels that shut down. So
it impacted their clients, therefore, sure.
But he was able to pick back up very quickly when things opened up because he was set up in the way to work remotely. So this is an interesting conversation. Apparently, Reed Hastings, Netflix co-founder, said that it's a pure negative. He was quoted that a long time ago saying that. And I'm torn on this. I feel like it's the old folks that don't want to adapt to the new way of going, but talk to me about what you think here.
So one, on the Reed Hastings thing, isn't Netflix a technology that allows you to enjoy their contents from the comfort of wherever you want to be?
Yeah, and I think I read that he doesn't even have an office himself, so I think it's pretty ironic.
I find that,
but
exactly,
yes.
Exactly. Well, I was having this discussion with my boss yesterday, and I have two purely remote customers. And we went that way because of the pandemic and realized, well, that's great. Costs less for us.
Right.
Rent, office buildings, right? And so that really stuck out to me because we're an engineering organization, and engineering is, what did you build? Can I measure it? If you're not, then what are we doing about that? They say that the reason that the two sides of the argument are, I'm more productive at home, I don't have to commute, fewer distractions, fewer interactions, honestly.
I mean, fewer distractions is a little bit questionable because you got your TV. For me, it's the kitchen. I go snack every 5 minutes. I need to go to the bathroom, I'm gonna go snack. But you don't have the water cooler, you don't have people stopping by your desk.
There's a difference between you distracting you and others distracting you.
Right, that's my ADHD talking.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
absolutely.
Go ahead.
I say that from a position of complete self-awareness and doing the exact same thing.
Yes.
So from a pure time efficiency standpoint, driving is stressful. Driving commuter traffic is stressful. You show up to work stressed. To sit there, you can distract yourself. You can distract yourself just fine anywhere because you're carrying your brain with you. Others distracting you is a time cost. In engineering world, if you're a developer and you're writing code and you take a distraction, which takes you off topic for 12 seconds, it takes you 20 minutes to get back. We actually studied it. That's huge. That's costly.
That is huge. And I do find myself doing that in my own, like I was saying, distracted brain. Something will happen, it'll take me out. And then I think, okay, where was I? And I have to get back in the zone.
Yeah, I laugh because I get to the top of the stairs and I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah,
And I got to remember it, right? So this all goes into the center argument, which is people are saying people need to be in the office to work. That's one side. The other side is we can get done what we need to get done remote. Well, physics. You can't, in the article, you can't change bed sheets and turn a hotel room from home on a laptop. But those of us in the service economy and the digital economy can do all of our work in that way.
Right.
Why do you need to be there in person? And that is interpersonal relationships.
True.
And what gets super interesting about the other side of the argument is people need to be in the office. What it's doing is cleaving apart the two camps in the office. So I call that self-preservation and get something done. I grew up in a barn and in a garage building stuff.
Okay.
I think like a plumber.
I learn more about him every day.
Yeah, but well, think about this, right? So, plumber, okay, you've got a leak. We're going to fix the pipe. Thank you. I need to be paid, and then I'm going to leave you alone because your stuff works. Do you need your plumber there all the time just in case something happens? No. But if you've got somebody who's got a salaried job in an office, and they might not be the technically most skilled or the most capable, but they realize that keeping social balance and maintaining their position of relative power keeps their salary coming in?
Yes.
Do you think they want to be in the office?
Yes, there's this quote here. Remote work lays bare many brutal inefficiencies and problems that executives don't want to deal with because they reflect poorly on leaders and those they've hired. Remote work empowers those who produce and disempowers those who have succeeded by being excellent diplomats and poor workers, which is kind of what you're saying, right? There's the people that maybe aren't that great at working, but they are good at schmoozing.
Yeah.
They're good at looking busy.
Yeah, they're good at self-preservation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and not good at performing.
Actually getting work done.
Yeah.
So what would you say if you owned a business right now? What are you leaning towards? A 1 to 2 day a week in the office? I like a little bit of a mix because I think there's a lot to be said for brainstorming, getting to know people. I love that I get to come in 3 days a week and intermingle with humans because I work in a silo most of the time.
And I think you and I are landing in exactly the same camp because if I am home on conference calls all day, the dog looks at me like, are you going to interact with me? And then he lays in the door to prevent me from leaving my office without him knowing so I can entertain him. But you can get a little lonely, you can get a little isolated.
Yeah.
So I think there's a middle ground of I need interaction in these ways for social purposes and maybe for work purposes to keep my mood in the right spot so I perform best at work.
Yeah.
Right, as a knowledge worker.
So let's go with a meeting of the two.
Yeah.
1 to 2 days, maybe 3, but whatever.
Yeah.
Who am I to decide? But I want to talk quickly before we have to let you go about this Chat GPT situation. So some authors, Jonathan Franzen, who I love the corrections, John Grisham, Jodi Picoult, many big name authors are suing Chat GPT because they were using their books, their manuscripts to train the chatbot. Is this right? How do they know that, first of all?
Is the work in the public domain or is it copyrighted and is commercial use of it to be compensated for?
I would think it's definitely copyrighted.
Yeah, so music is a great example of that, just like these written works. So I named one of my saxophones Aretha. Why? Because I wanted to sound like Aretha Franklin when I was playing that saxophone. Simple, right? So could I analyze Aretha Franklin's music and go, she does this, I should be able to do that with my horn, and people are going to like it because they love her. Look at all the radio play.
Yeah.
And
so
that's
now humans are doing that with the
words.
works of these famous authors.
Because it's style, it's structure, because the author doesn't own the words.
Do they have a leg to stand on in a court of law?
I believe they do. Because if the person that built the large language model on someone's creative work, that's a derivative product, would be my argument.
All right. I like that argument. Thank you for joining us. We're out of time. Mr. Brad Rambur, fist bump.
Fist bump. We're out.
Mr. Brad Rambur. I don't know why I'm adding the Mr. Mr. Brad Rambur, Mr. Bojangles.
We've had a syllable.
We've had a great show. Thank you for watching America Trends. We'll be here again tomorrow, 10 p.m. on BizTV.